And we're joined now by California Republican State Senator Joel Anderson. He represents voters in San Diego County and is a pledged delegate for presumptive Republican nominee Donald Trump. Good morning.
Good morning.
Now, we heard there in Rachel Estabrook's story from Colorado, which is a state like California with a large and growing Hispanic population. We heard what has been reflected in polls. That is, a lot of Latinos are not impressed with Donald Trump's rhetoric. Is that not a real concern for Republicans?
Well, I think what it shows is how diverse the Hispanic community is. And you can't just go by what one person says. You have to look at it as a whole. And campaigns, when you do polling, it's a snapshot in time. It's just a picture of today where we stand. We're a long way off from November.
Although Donald Trump has put a lot of store into polls. He talks about them a lot and has in this campaign. I mean, you're saying these polls do not reflect the true feelings of Hispanics?
Well, I think the polls are a snapshot in time. A year ago, Donald Trump was tied for 10th place with Pataki. And today, he's our presumptive nominee. So there's ample time in this campaign for things to change and trends to change as well.
Your district sits within a county down in San Diego that is 1/3 Hispanic. What are you telling those voters, and what are you hearing from voters in your district about Donald Trump?
Well, I can tell you my district's going to overwhelmingly vote for Donald Trump because people want to get back to work. They want to be fully employed. When you look at the economy, when you look at Central Valley, when you look at what has been allowed to occur in one of the most prosperous states in the United States, it's shameful. And I think that people expect Donald Trump to help turn the ship around and get people back to work so they can feel the pride that only comes from providing for your family. You know, the press can say that he's a racist. They can do all the things that they want to do. But we're tired of being lied to by the press, and we think there's a better future for our children, and we're willing to fight for it. I mean, there's so much more going on than this nonsense about a judge. I mean, look, he deserves a fair trial like every American deserves a fair trial.
Certainly Donald Trump deserves a fair trial in this civil suit about the Trump University. But Republican Party leaders, including Speaker Paul Ryan, including Senate Leader Mitch McConnell, all push back on him for saying that a judge cannot be fair in a case because he is of Mexican descent, or, adding to that, a Muslim might not also be able to be fair if it involves Muslims. Is that not the definition of racism? Presuming their race or ethnicity or religion overrides everything.
You know what? I can't speak for Donald Trump on that. I don't know the full story of all that, but every American deserves a fair trial. And if somebody's been influenced and they're not listening with fair ears, well, that's a problem. You know, I'm really not interested in an ambush interview.
True, but Senator, every little thing, this is part of, I think, the appeal. That Donald Trump is very tough, and he says what he means. That's what people say a lot. I mean, aren't we to sort of take him at what he says and what he spends time talking about?
We've seen story after story from the beginning of ambush interviews looking for the poison dart to kill Donald Trump. You haven't found any in the press, and now you're picking on a senator to try to find something. Look, I see him as an economic engine that's going to help everybody get back to work and be more prosperous. And I think that when people look at Donald Trump overall and they look at Hillary Clinton, they're thinking that they want to go with somebody who's an outside person who's not going to give us the same old rhetoric that everybody in Washington, D.C. gives us.
California Republican State Senator Joel Anderson is a pledged delegate for presumptive Republican nominee Donald Trump. Thank you very much for joining us.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you.
This is NPR.